debrief and evaluation. Usually I'll bring them all in to the theory room or just a classroom, talk a little bit about what they learned before I announce the winners. So I might talk about, what's the difference in materials, how that had an impact, because it is quite a vital step, making sure you pick the right materials. How did different materials work? Some were just too heavy, some were just broke, they were too frail. What was it like to work with different materials, all the effort that you had to go into or didn't have to go into. And then the other thing I like to go through, the stages that the groups go through. So a lot of them will identify with at least a couple of these stages. There'll be a few stages. The first one they go through really is like figuring out that their drawing, like what they've drawn on the piece of paper won't work, or their original idea doesn't really work in practice. So I like to ask them who figured out that their original design wasn't going to work, and like pretty much the whole room hands go up. The second one is they go through a stage where they don't really have anything to do. Like you might get a couple of these kids sort of coming up to you and saying, "We're finished, we don't know what to do." But that's just a stage in the process, because they'll soon figure out that they do actually have a lot to do. So if you ask, who didn't think they had anything to do, then most of the hands will go up in the room. Third one, less is more. This is a good stage. This is where, in my opinion, like the tide turns for students. They sort of start to get it when they figure out less is more. So a lot of them at the start, we're trying to put everything into their one design and making it, fancy and worrying exactly about how it looks and everything. And then by the time they get to this stage, they realise actually doing less is actually better for the result. The third one, why don't we just do that? This is like, once they go through that less is more, and they just realise the simplicity of, why don't we just take a piece of balsa wood and put some paper on it, and then that's it. This is a good stage. A lot of the students, in my experience, that actually win the competition or get better scores generally go through this stage. And then the last one is test. So this stage is, they won't do anything without testing it. So they'll be like, I'm going to put a piece of paper on this balsa wood and see how it works against having just the balsa wood. And that's a really great place for students to be in. Other than that, I like to announce the winners. I give it a little bit of put a little bit of drama into it, usually announce third, second, first, and any honourable mentions, and then I give the prizes out. Just lastly, before I finish and I take students out to do the test, I'll make them clean up. I've been caught out with that one before.